Lucky Dave.
I'm Ned Niederlander.
I'm Dusty Bottoms, and together we're
the Three Amigos.
Director John Landis, today on Pop Goes the Culture. Hi, I'm David Levin, and welcome to another deranged episode of Pop Goes the Culture. Today, Director John Landis returns for part 4 of our conversation with More Three Amigos stories, Sly Stallone in the un-Oscar-worthy Oscar, and the film I know you're dying to hear more about, The Stupids.
You want to hear a great story that has nothing to do with anything but from Three Amigos? And I won't get the dates right, but I'll get the story right. I have to preface the story by saying I do not believe in astrology, okay? It is bullshit, Nancy. Okay, get over it. Anyway, but the story is we're shooting in Tucson, Arizona in the Saguaro National Forest. And I had the wonderful Mexican director, Alfonso Arau, who's playing El Guapo. And he was married at the time to a woman named Laura Esquivel, and they'd been married for a few years. And I knew she spoke perfect English and understood everything, but she never said anything. And I had all these great Mexican actors, Jorge Cervera, I mean, just great. Although, Tony Plana is Puerto Rican. I mean, I'm sorry, no, he's not. He's Cuban. Tony Plana's Cuban. He's not Mexican. Anyway, the story is, I say to Laura, how come you never speak? You're always so quiet. Why don't you say anything? And she, answers, and she says, well, because when she and Alfonso were married in Mexico City, they went and had their fortunes told, and they did the charts and the astrology through the T, I don't know, whatever they do. And the astrologer said, Lara, and I forgot what year it was, but in this year, this anniversary, you will sit down and write a book. I've never written a book. And it will become the most successful Mexican novel in history to this time. And then a year later, you, Alfonso, will make a movie of the book. And it will be the most successful Mexican movie up to this time. I said, well, when is that? She goes, well, that's in 3 years, and so I'm thinking. So 3 years later, Lara sat down and wrote Like Water for Chocolate. Isn't that great?
Oh my God. But it's all bullshit.
Yeah, but that's a true story. I mean, it's like, to me, it's like Dumbo's feather, it's like, it's, but it's still, and Alfonso made the wonderful movie, and there you go.
Oh my God. So she was absolutely right.
Yeah.
What are the odds?
That's just a great story from Three. Want to hear another great story from Three Amigos?
Of course.
We're shooting in Tucson, and when you have 6 guns, people don't understand about fast draw, which is they're not automatic weapons, those guns. So when you draw, it's not how quickly you can pull it and pull the trigger. You have to cock it and pull the trigger. It's not easy to do. It takes practice. Plus, it's 6-cylinder, 6-shooter, so they have to be loaded, individually. And we shot, blanks. And if you remember the movie, the Banditos are always shooting in the air constantly. And so that meant that the prop guys were running around between horses, going, give me your gun, and unloading it and reloading it and running. Well, one of the assistant prop guys was named Vinny. And I don't remember Vinny's last name, but he was an older guy, a short Italian guy. And one day he comes up to me. I just had this image of Vinny with boxes of cartridges running around. And he said to me, Mr. Landis, could I have Friday off? Why? I have a horse running at Santa Anita. You have a horse you own? He goes, yeah, I own a lot of horses. Turns out that Vinny had been a prop man for years at Warner Brothers or something and retired, but missed it. So he liked working as an assistant. But he was a wealthy man, and he owned and raised horses. So I said, yeah, of course. And then he said, you know what, give me $50 and I'll bet on the pick 6. What's the pick 6? So he tells me if all, you get all 6 winners of it. Fine, here's $50. And then Steve gave him $50, and Chevy gave him $50, and Marty gave him $50, and the crew everybody gave him $50. Everybody gave him $50. Adios. He comes in Monday with 2 Halliburton suitcases. Like a Tarantino movie. And he puts them down in the middle of the fortress we built, and and he has the AD call everyone's attention, and he says, Mr. Landis? I go, yes. Go like this. Go like this. He opens his suitcase, and he's peeling out $100 bills. $8,000 was my share from a $50 bet. And it was like, and everybody got $8,000. It was unbelievable. And Vinny, of course, was a hero. And then the rest of the show, everyone kept betting. We never won again. But it just was such an extraordinary thing.
How much money was in those cases?
Hundreds of thousands. I mean, it was the pot was a couple $100,000. I mean, it was amazing because he pooled everyone's money and made this giant bet on the Big Six and won. I couldn't get over it, but that's it was just Three Amigos was a wonderful experience for me. I'd worked on a lot of spaghetti westerns in Spain, and just making a western. I love to make a western, and it'll come back. Hopefully, I'll get. When you're a director, you get typed, and because I've made successful comedies and successful horror pictures, and successful music pictures, then I get musical comedy horror pictures, and I like all three genres, but I loved westerns more.
Musical comedy horror western.
I got one.
You had music and comedy in the Three Amigos.
Oh yeah, Three Amigos was sort of. It was an homage to all kinds of westerns. I mean, everything from Peckinpah to Roy Rogers was in that one, And the lines in Three Amigos I still quote. My wife and I were in India for a couple months, and I just got so tired of Indian food after a while. And there's a line in Three Amigos where the Amigos come to this little village, and they're being fed in this peasant's house, and Chevy's having trouble with the tortilla, and he says, "Do you have anything besides Mexican food?" The whole time in India, I kept going, "Do you have anything besides Mexican food?" My wife kept saying, "John, they've never seen this movie." But you know what? They had. Three Amigos was very successful in India.
I had a boss who used to get into these mood swings. And every now and then I'd look at him and go, "I'm guapo. Why you do this to me?"
Could it be because you are turning 40?
Such a riot.
I just saw Tony Plana like a month ago in New York City at a show at Putnam County Spelling Bee. He's a terrific actor. Terrific actor.
I'm looking forward to.
Did you ever see that Oliver Stone picture with Jimmy Woods and James Belushi, I think, is actually. Oh gosh, ask him.
I will.
There's Salvador, I think it's called. Anyway, but he plays one of the bad guy generals, and he's so good. Tony
I
Plana.
interviewed Tom Arnold last week.
Oh, Tom.
He loved working with you.
Did he?
Loved working with you. Yeah, what was he like?
I enjoyed Tom Arnold. I made a movie that kind of had a tragic tale to it. I'm very proud of this movie. If you have children, it's available on home video from New Line, called The Stupids. It was a strange experience, not making a movie, but what happened to it. The Stupids are children's books by Harry Allard, illustrated by James Marshall, they're delightful books written for very small children. So I thought, okay, I'll make a children's movie. Did you ever see The Stupids?
I haven't seen it. Well, I saw pieces of it.
Well, no, watch it. I'm very proud of it. Tom Arnold, first I'll tell you, Brent Forrester, who was a writer on The Simpsons, wrote the script. And basically it's about a family who view the world through these bizarre glasses, I guess. I don't know how you call it. But the movie takes place on 4 levels of reality at all times. It takes place in reality. Then it takes place in the Stupids' reality. And so the Stupids' perception of reality, their response to it alters reality, which of course alters their reality. So it's always at 4 times, there's 4 levels. So for instance, the Stanley Stupid uncovers this vast conspiracy, and he believes this evil man, Sender, is behind it. So in Stanley's mind, he's played by Christopher Lee. But in real life, it's the only movie Bob Keeshan ever made, Captain Kangaroo. And I was so proud because as a generation who grew up with Captain Kangaroo, he was very, very serious about protecting children, and he loved the script, and he's in the show, and I'm proud that he was in the show. But so Christopher Lee and Captain Kangaroo play the same guy. It's a pretty wacky movie, and it's very wacky costumes by Deborah. It's very stylized and has puppets, and so it's a G-rated. It's a children's film. So I make this movie. So Stanley's Stupid. It's the role Tom was born to play. And we had Jessica Lundy and these brilliant, they were kids, now they're big, but Bug Hall and, oh fuck, I'll think of her name, wonderful actress. Oh God, little kid, she was great. Anyway, it was a very fun. Mark Metcalf is in it playing Niedermeyer again. But it's a very entertaining, very silly movie for 10-year-olds. I mean, that was my audience, 10 and under. While we were in post-production, the company that financed it, Savoy, went bankrupt, having nothing to do with us, and we're told, shut down. I said, I got a week and I'm finished, fuck you. So I finished the movie, and then it sat on a shelf for 3 years, which was extremely frustrating. Disney tried to buy it, but Victor Kaufman of Savoy wouldn't sell it. He said, you have to buy all 13 movies we own, or not one, just all 13. Eventually, 3 years later, New Line, like a garage sale, bought all 13. And I will never forget this screening I had where I'm now, hooray, my movie's going to be released. I was sad Disney didn't release it because it would have been a papal blessing. Walt Disney Presents would have been great. Because the title is Troubled, the Stupids. You know, a lot of people think that's a bad word. You know, I mean, I think the fact that our president is stupid is the problem now. Anyway, but so,
good.
Yeah, I don't know. God, he scares me.
Presidential blessing.
Our president. I am the decider. Oh man, I'll tell you.
We can talk about this.
Evil. These people are evil. Evil. Anyway, so the exciting thing I'm saying is that I make this movie, The Stupids, and 3 years later, New Line picks it up, thinking Tom Arnold, John Landis, and there was a bit player in it, Jenny McCarthy, who had, in the meantime, become a Playmate of the Year, and she had this thing on MTV, and she was like a celebrity of the moment. So they thought, oh, The Stupids, Tom Arnold, Jenny McCarthy, John Landis, tits in this teenage comedy. You know. So I'm showing it to them, and in the middle of the movie, not even the middle, 10 minutes in, the head of distribution, Mitch, turns to me and goes, this is a children's film. Like, yeah. So I've had that twice happen to me where the perceptions of the movie just sank the movie. So they dumped it. But it's done very well on home video, and I think Tom is terrific in it. And I enjoyed working with Tom.
He loved working with you, too.
I have to tell you, the other movie, I made this picture called Oscar that was supposed to be Al Pacino. Complicated thing, but Al did Dick Tracy instead. He didn't want to play two gangsters. Yeah, so I got, Jeff Katzenberg suggested Sylvester Stallone, and I went, I don't think so. And then I met him, and you know, he's a very smart guy, and he can be very charming, and he is funny in real life. In any case, so we make the movie, and I was disappointed. It had an amazing cast, that movie. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah.
Because the movie has Tim Curry, Don Amici, Ornella Muti, Kirk Douglas, Yvonne DiCarlo, Eddie Bracken, Peter Riegert, Marissa Tomei, Chaz Palminteri. I mean, just this extraordinary cast. And Vinnie Spano, I'm trying to think. Kurtwood Smith. I mean, this is an amazing cast. And I was very pleased with the movie, but Sly is the centerpiece, and we had this moment at the preview where somebody wrote, I have the card, why didn't he take off his shirt and kill anybody? You know, doomed, we're doomed. And we were, because anyone who would like the movie wouldn't like to go see Sylvester Stallone movies, and Sylvester Stallone fans went, what the fuck is this? You know,
That's funny.
we were sunk.
That's it for now. Next time, the conclusion of my cataclysmic conversation. That was hard to say. With the great John Landis, we'll talk Trading Places, Spies Like Us, and what it was like meeting and working with some of the greatest comedians of all time. See you then, and until then, don't forget to subscribe and just push a button.